If you're watching this video, it means the evidence has come to light. My name is Marina Suarez, and if you're seeing this recording, I'm probably already dead. What we found in the crypt of St. Bartholomew shouldn't exist in this world. This is our story, and this is my final warning to all of you. This is how the last live transmission found on Marina Suarez's YouTube channel begins. Marina, along with her 4 friends, disappeared under mysterious circumstances exactly 3 months ago. What I'm about to tell you is the reconstruction of events based on the multiple cameras recovered from the site. It all started as an ambitious project for their urban exploration channel. Marina, together with Carlos, the group's audiovisual technician, Ana, a local history expert, Diego, the group's prankster who always kept the mood light, and Sofia, an archaeology student, had been investigating the abandoned crypt of St. Bartholomew Cemetery for months. The crypt had been sealed since 1963 after 3 children disappeared inside. The authorities at the time simply closed the place, and over the years, stories about laments and whispers emanating from its depths became urban legends. The group arrived at the cemetery at 11:23 p.m. The cameras show Carlos setting up the equipment while Marina did her usual video introduction. Hey, mystery explorers, today we're venturing into one of the most terrifying places in the city. Her voice sounded excited, not knowing these would be her last words recorded under normal circumstances. Getting into the crypt proved easier than expected. The rusted lock yielded to Diego's tools, and the heavy iron gate opened with a creak that seemed to awaken something in the depths. Ana was the first to notice that the air coming from inside was unusually cold, so much so that they could see their breath in the air, despite it being a summer night. The first anomalies began just 20 minutes after their entry. Sofia, who was documenting the ancient symbols carved into the walls, noticed that they seemed to change when illuminated from different angles. These weren't simple decorative carvings. The symbols formed patterns that appeared to move, as if they were alive. The first hour of exploration passed between nervous jokes and disturbing discoveries. They found ancient funeral chambers, some with open and empty coffins. Diego, trying to lighten the mood, joked about how the dead must have gone out for a walk. Nobody laughed. The real horror began when they tried to return. The corridor they had come through now ended in a solid wall. Marina consulted the map they had drawn, but nothing made sense. The corridors seemed to rearrange themselves, and the marks they had left for orientation appeared in places where they hadn't put them. The cameras captured the exact moment when the group began to fall apart. Their devices' batteries drained faster than normal, and the flashlights flickered without reason. That's when they heard the first lament. It was an unnatural sound, as if dozens of voices were moaning in unison from the depths of the earth. Diego was the first to disappear. One moment he was behind the group, and the next, there was only the echo of his scream fading into darkness. Ana tried to keep calm, reciting historical facts about the crypt, as if knowledge could protect them from what lurked in the shadows. She theorized that the symbols on the walls were part of an ancient ritual, something related to a sect that worshipped entities that existed between dimensions. The cameras kept recording as the group dwindled. Sofia disappeared while studying one of the symbols. She simply vanished, as if absorbed by the wall itself. Ana was next, dragged by an invisible force into a darkness that seemed deeper than the absence of light. Carlos and Marina remained together until the end. The last images show them huddled in a corner, surrounded by symbols that now definitely moved, forming impossible patterns that hurt to look at. "There's something here," Marina whispered in her final recording. "Something that has been waiting, feeding on fear and desperation. And now we're part of it." The final image shows Marina alone, recording the message with which I began this story. Carlos had already been taken by the shadows, and she knew she was next. In her final words, she warned about the ancient symbols, about how the crypt wasn't a place, but a portal that fed on the curiosity and fear of those who dared to explore it. The authorities found the cameras 3 days later, when the students' parents reported their disappearance. The crypt, however, appeared perfectly sealed, as if no one had opened it in decades. The symbols that had so intrigued Sophia were no longer on the walls, and the corridors followed a normal, logical pattern. To this day, no one has been able to explain what really happened in the crypt of St. Bartholomew. The 5 students remain missing, and the only clues are the recordings I've just shared with you. But there's more to this story that wasn't captured on camera. Local records revealed that similar disappearances had occurred every 30 years since the crypt's construction in 1873. Each time, a group of young people would vanish without a trace, and the crypt would be found perfectly sealed, as if mocking those who tried to uncover its secrets. The most disturbing detail came from an old church document discovered months after the incident. It described how the original architect of the crypt had gone mad during its construction, claiming that the walls speak, and the patterns are alive. He was found dead in his study, having covered every surface with the same symbols that would later appear in the crypt. Investigators who reviewed the footage noticed something chilling. In each subsequent viewing of the tapes, the symbols visible in the background appeared to be slightly different, as if they were slowly changing, even in the recordings. Several experts who spent too long analyzing the footage reported experiencing severe headaches and recurring nightmares about endless, shifting corridors. The parents of the missing students have never given up hope of finding their children, but those who have studied similar cases throughout history suggest a more terrifying possibility: that the victims aren't dead, but exist in some kind of dimensional limbo, their consciousness trapped in the space between reality and whatever lies beyond the symbols. Some locals claim that on particularly quiet nights, they can hear distant voices coming from the direction of the cemetery, voices that sound remarkably like the missing students, calling for help from somewhere impossibly far away. The crypt has since been filled with concrete, but even that hasn't stopped the whispers or the dreams that plague those who live nearby. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of this case is its implication: that there are places in our world that serve as bridges to something else, something that has been watching and waiting for countless generations. The crypt of St. Bartholomew might be sealed, but how many other portals exist, hiding in plain sight, marked by symbols that shift when we're not looking? If you enjoyed this true horror story, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more terrifying tales like this one. Leave a comment below if you think the students are still alive, trapped in some alternative dimension, or if the crypt took them forever. See you in the next video. If the shadows don't find me first,